Sound good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, we are live. We're going to play the intro. Everybody mute for the intro.
Oh, shit. This Smartmark Wrasslin Radio? Oh, yeah! It's Smartmark Wrasslin Radio with Derek, Huds, and Dusty Cats. Make sure to support both the live and audio versions of this show by subscribing on the likes of YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Head over to timespentpoorly.com and check out the other shows on the network. Want to support your marks? Great. Head over to patreon.com/timespentpoorly and see how you can do just that. Now, here's your hosts, Derek, Huds, and Dusty Cats.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show, Smartmark Wrasslin Radio. Man, I'm so excited.
The pile driver of a good time.
It really is. It used to be a Slobberknocker every time, and now it's a pile driver.
It's a pile driver tonight.
We make sure you have fun. We make sure with it.
When do you call it season 2? Or how many of them do you have to do before there's?
I think as soon as you hit a new year. I mean, so like after this month and next month, we'll be in season 2.
Oh yeah,
we're on episode 20. This is episode 22, though. Like that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Although I always say what episode it is, and the award corrects me, so it might be episode 24 or episode 20.
Yeah,
it's episode 1000. There's a tremendous number of shows we've done. 1000.
It's the greatest amount of shows that anybody's ever done.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Oh my God, I'm so excited for tonight. Man, really good. It's been a little bit since we've done a show. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened since we've done a show.
Donald Trump? Yeah!
There's been a few things that have happened since the last show, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head that's really been going on.
Donald Trump? Yeah!
But I'm sure it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is actually a monumental show because how many years has it been now? Mr. Swan told us 22 years.
23
year anniversary since the Montreal screw job.
Yes,
that's pretty huge.
That's massive. That actually happened today.
3 more than 3. No, it was the 9th. November 9th.
Oh, was it? Okay.
November 9th.
So here's what's nuts.
But it's
about.
Same diff, yeah. Right?
4 days.
We were talking about it before the show, before we went on the air, though, and when they tell that story, it's like, and Bret Hart went on to be on WCW, and like that's like the end of the story. But really, that's not the end of the story. The end of the story is really how he went on to WCW, and his career kind of ended.
Yeah. It was a slow burn for a couple years, and
yeah, that was really all he had.
2 years. I mean, what was the date that I put up? It was like November of 97.
That's true, Rick Laws. Thank you. I think he's referring to the sound clip that kept playing randomly. That's very true. Also, we will. I know we've been talking about this. We're going to do a top 5 celebrity involvement in a storyline.
Didn't we?
Have we already done that? We've already done that.
Did we do it?
We've done that.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did.
I told you, Bill. It's them chemtrails that they're putting over Derek's house. They're getting into his brain.
That's true. You're right. All right. So, anyway, yeah. So, I mean, he went to WCW. I mean, like the Montreal screw job is monumental, and it completely changed the course of history forever.
Yeah, it did. I agree with you. On that.
But like WWE for the better. But like,
yes,
yeah,
like Bret Hart for not the better, really.
You know, he's kind of like the Christ of wrestling, right? The Horus of wrestling. Like he was the best. He was the God's favorite, and then there's a falling out, and he sacrificed himself for
Kind of did, yeah.
the business, so that the god in this case, Vince McMahon, so that he could continue.
Kind of, though.
And
Yeah,
this is the real weird part, is that Vince believed, and I believe, that he had to protect the company.
Yeah.
And that meant everybody else in the locker room. Everybody that wasn't Brett and Sean, Vince made that decision for them. So when Vince says Brett screwed Brett, that's true. That's totally true.
Yeah. And I know there were a lot
Absolutely.
of guys in the back who had said some things in anger about wanting to quit and not want it, and how, fuck Vince, fuck WWE, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back, screw my contract. But at the end of the day, they were mad, but I think they understood too.
I think after a little bit of time, they understood that, Shawn Michaels is a dick, but no matter how much of a dick he is, you can't stoop to his level, and Brett kind of did. I think Brett took it a little bit too personally, and I think he took it too seriously. I think he's
worked himself into a
But
shoot,
you know what?
as
But
Stone Cold would say.
here's something to me: the championship belt is the most important thing in pro wrestling. It's the most important thing, and you have to protect that. And I don't believe that the championship has as much weight as it did back then. Back then, it meant something. Today, it's just we're gonna give it to Drew, and who cares? It's just it might as well be a fucking.
It's a prop.
Yeah, it's a prop, right? Yeah, that's what they think.
It should mean something.
It should mean the world.
When you had dudes carrying it for 9 years, what did San Martino have it for? It was a ridiculous amount of time.
Oh yeah. It'll never be beaten.
No,
it'll never be beaten.
No, how?
No way.
Watch that.
Who's going to show up and carry it?
It's
that long?
it's 7-8 years, isn't it?
it's
maybe even more. I don't remember, but
there's no one in the business who they could put that belt on for 9 years that people would keep watching.
No,
not a chance.
No.
But I think, So it meant a lot at the time. So you have put together, Dusty. You put Dog the Bounty Hunter. You have put together a timeline for us, though, for Brett after Montreal Screwjob. Is that what
So the idea was that it gets talked about so much, and how could we talk about the topic without it being kind of passe, and so I figured, well, why don't we just talk about the immediate aftermath of
the aftermath? Yeah, because I feel like that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot. Is they talk about what happened, and then when they talk about aftermath, they just talk about how the WWE went on to become the Attitude Era, and then they won them Monday Night Wars, and then that's it.
Yeah, they skip from the screw job all the way to Brett walking on Monday Nitro. They skip all it's none of that. But a bunch of shit happened. Yeah. But between that time period, but just that first maybe hour or two after the show, I've got a list of that. So let me walk it through with you. We'll try to get through this real quick, but I kind of want to dwell on some of the things that happened.
Okay.
Because some of it's pretty big.
Let's just start from the bell ringing. Sean slaps on the sharpshooter, bell rings. Okay. Earl Hebner got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
He left. So he's the referee.
He's gone. Yeah. He bailed so fast.
Bailed.
If you watch that video too, he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah. He took off. I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but Jim Cornette, he was done for the day. He didn't have to be there anymore. But he thought, well, this is a really fucking weird thing, so I'm going to stick around and watch and see the finish to see what Vince does. And he stuck around, and the minute he saw the finish, he got the fuck out of there too. And I don't know if I remember this well enough, not, but I'm pretty sure that they ran into each other going to get their cars. He's like, Earl, where are you going? Shouldn't you be? I think that, but if not, that should have happened because Jim was like, I'm gonna go get a cheeseburger. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So
you speak the true.
So it's November 9th, 1997, the Molson Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Fucking love Molson beer. So the finish happens. They fucking get the fuck out of there. So, and we all know, like, Brett spits on Vince and is yelling at him.
Right. Yeah.
And he trashes the thing. Well, after that, Vince goes up to his office.
Okay.
And there's some folks in the office. I think Gerald Briscoe is in there, Pat Patterson, and The Undertaker. So somebody convinced the what's going on? Did I lose my camera?
You did.
Oh no. We'll just use this one. So somebody convinced the Undertaker to go watch the match in Vince's office. So the Undertaker is like, he sees the finish in the office and is like, what the fuck? And he goes outside and stands outside the door. And Bruce Pritchard shows up because he saw what happened. He's in gorilla position, which is like the monitors right before the curtain. And Bruce Pritchard goes up. He's like, I got to go to Vince's office. So he runs to go to Vince's office, and he sees the Undertaker standing in front of the door. And Bruce is like, he's guarding the door. He fucking knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so he goes in there, and they talk to each other. And they're like, well, you got to go talk to Brett. He's asking if you're in the building. And so it turns out the Undertaker said that he was going to go watch the match in the office. He had no idea about the screw job. And neither did Bruce. But when they walked up on each other right in front of the office, Bruce thought the Undertaker knew, and he was pissed at him. And the Undertaker thought Bruce knew, and he was pissed at him. So they're like mad at each other for thinking they both knew, and both of them didn't know. And fortunately, years later, well, a little bit after that, they talked to each other and realized that neither of them knew what was going on. So they decide to go down to the locker room. Brett is down there, and he's with Owen, Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, Jim Neidhart.
Pretty much his crew.
He's in the locker room, yeah. And so they're on their way to go confront Brett and go talk about it. And so Undertaker leaves before him and goes to get Shawn. And Shawn's in there with Hunter. And let's see. I just want to make sure. So they go grab. So yeah. So Vince. So it's Vince, Shane, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, Tony Gurria, Sergeant Slaughter, Bruce Pritchard, and JR. The fucking the coaches, you know, like the coaches of my dreams. Like,
it's like Andy Reid, basically. Like,
yeah, it's the fucking 1985 49ers coaching staff or whatever the fuck.
Right, yeah.
Like, and they're walking to the locker room, and so this is the first one where I want to stop and I want to talk about it. The Hart family went to that show in Montreal. And the sisters and some of the family were between them and the locker room. And as they were fucking walking to go confront Brett in the locker room, they spit on them. Like literally like spit on these dudes. and Bruce Pritchard's like, oh yeah, they were mad. they were really mad.
And bitches were upset.
Yeah. Wow. So that's Davey Boy's wife. That's Bulldog's wife. His sister Elizabeth, I think. And who's the other sister? I don't know. I couldn't tell you the other sister. But they fucking literally spit on these these dudes.
Oh yeah, they're mad. Yeah.
On the way.
Mad.
I heard that. I was like, no fucking way.
I remember watching Wrestling with Shadows. Like that's like the first like behind the scenes. I mean, if you really think about like Hitman Hart Wrestling with Shadows was like the first like real big insight to like wrestling. I mean, like for us, like it was like we're watching and we're just like, oh my god, like this is it. Like this is the real deal. Like this is before we I mean, you and I, like this show, like we weren't smart marks. We were marks. We were kids.
Oh, yeah.
And this is nuts. Like there's no kayfabe and there's no cape. Like kayfabe's not a term that we're using at this time.
Yeah, we thought it was real.
Yeah.
I mean, at least my age. I
thought it was,
Yeah.
I
so
no idea at the time.
No idea.
So that whole cavalcade of dudes shows up into the locker room, and they pretty much get rid of everybody. Ken Shamrock wanted to stay because he was fucking pissed, and they're like, "No, Ken, you need to leave the building. Like, we need to do this." So it's just the top boys, right? It's Brett's boys. It's the not the Office, but it's like fucking Vince and his Wranglers. They walk in and Sean's in there with Hunter, and the Undertaker was like, I'm going to stand here at the end of the room with Sean, and we're going to stand back here, and I'm going to stand next to him because, and then this is what Undertaker said. He was like, because Sean's going to say something, and he's going to pipe off or mouth off, and it's not going to help anybody. It's just going to be bad. So I'm going to make sure he fucking, if he does say something that no one's going to, get in a fight.
Yeah.
And so they start saying their piece, and Vince is like, I did this for the boys, and you made me do this. I had to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then Brett is like speaking his mind and being like, telling him how he feels about Vince and about how he feels about what happened, and lots of expletives. I'm sure.
Lots of Canadian expletives, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, you cotton-headed ninny muggins or whatever the hell you say.
Right.
And so this is the most badass part of the story is Brett goes, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go take a shower. Then I'm going to get dressed. And if you're still here, I'm going to knock you out. To Vince. He said that to Vince. I'm going to knock you out. So he got up, went and finished his shower. Like he's talking to these dudes, like they're saying their piece, and he's in his towel, like Val Venus, and then goes back and finishes his shower. Comes back in, gets dressed, and fucking walks up to go punch Vince. And Vince tells Brett, he's like, I'm going to give you one. So Brett fucking decks him right in the temple, and he goes down. And everything just kind of breaks down, and they kind of stop everything, and that was it. He just fucking socked him one, knocked him down, man.
Nuts. Yeah, and I remember the biggest thing. He does the WCW thing,
yep.
And so you think like, as a kid, I remember even just thinking like, man, he's gonna be huge in WCW.
Yeah.
And should have been.
It should have been.
Yeah.
But it ended up not being that way.
It ended up not being that way at all. It's a real big tragedy.
So when does the Montreal Screwjob happen? What year?
1997. So, yeah, November 9th, 1997. And
when does his career end in WCW?
December 1999.
2 years.
Yeah,
I know. And
they didn't do anything with him in those 2 years.
Nothing. No. I think he got kicked in the head by Goldberg.
Yeah.
And rode in a car. I remember when he showed up, he was in a car.
It wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't. No. It wasn't what it should have been. No. I think he made a ton of money to go do it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's fine forever.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah.
It was like he was making $1.5 million, and then now he's making like $2.5 million. It was like an extra
Right.
million
Yeah.
in his contract.
Yeah, just crazy amounts of money to do essentially nothing.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because he could have done, like, if he had a young Jericho to work with, God, Dean Malenko in those days.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that he could have done.
Well, it's just bizarre.
It just boggles.
He should have had 10 more years.
Yeah. And
At minimum.
I know it's become a joke now, like him talking shit about Goldberg, but I don't think he's wrong. I know it's still Brett being Brett, but he cut off a lot of good working years that he could have had.
Yeah, he ruined fucking wrestling, in my opinion.
Because when you hear people talk about wrestling Brett, imagine if he'd have gotten to wrestle Kurt Angle.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Or a real good series with Benoit.
Yeah.
You know, he did wrestle Benoit, but like a real good, like, come on, man. It could have been something.
Or if even just, I mean, if you could have elongated that out, I mean, like, look how much longer Shawn Michaels went, you know?
Yeah. He took a few years off and came back and went.
Right.
And really had the best parts of his career. As much as people will talk up those early DX days and stuff, like those weren't.
Oh yeah, man.
Those weren't his best years.
The DX days were dumb, but I mean, like when Shawn had his stuff with The Undertaker, I mean,
those
like
were his best.
their stuff with John Cena, Kurt Angle, like there was some really good Shawn Michaels stuff there at the end. They're roughly the same age. Like it's ridiculous that Brett didn't get to have that type of career at the end there.
Yeah.
And to go down the right way and pass the torch to someone and like to actually.
I mean, shit, you can say that about Owen too. I mean, if we want to get real depressed about it, I mean, and pretty much all those brothers are dead. Bruce is dead. Keith is dead.
Yeah.
You know, Jim, Brian Pillman, Davey Boy. I mean, Brett's the only one alive. He's like Barry Gibb. He's the last one, dude. Everyone else is.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts to think what could have been from Brett, especially if he would have come back. So let's say he doesn't end his career with Goldberg, you know, and when WWE gets WCW back. And maybe Brett waits a little while like everybody else does. Maybe Brett goes to TNA for a while.
He would have gone to TNA.
He would have. Sure. Yeah. Fine, though.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes to TNA for as long as Sting did.
Yeah.
But But still, that would have been better than what happened.
Oh, yeah. Without question.
Yeah.
He's younger than Sting.
Yeah.
And you know, to imagine what could have been from that is monumental.
Yeah. It's hard for me to dwell on it because there was a lot of good that came after. And I wonder if the screw job ever happened. This is something on WrestleCrap that I read. WrestleCrap, you ever heard of it? WrestleCrap.com?
Mm-mm.
Shout out to Wesley Harrington on this one, but WrestleCrap like is the chronicler of all of the bad wrestling. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. It's one of the coolest things. But they have these writers that do revisionist history of wrestling. And one of the stories that they did was the screw job not happening. And in that scenario, WCW wins the Monday Night War, right?
Without the screw job.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. So let's say the screw job doesn't happen. WWE, I don't think they take the initiative they do to go into Attitude Era.
Right. Because they've got Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And Bret Hart might be the best of all time, but he's not the future. And Shawn Michaels was. And Stone Cold Steve Austin was. And The Rock was. And Bret needed to fucking pass the mantle to those guys. And thank God he got out of the way. And this is the ironic thing. Bret always talked about how he was mad at guys like Hulk Hogan and Slaughter who didn't want to put over the young guys. And, you know, when he was working in the 80s, it just pissed him off. And then when he got to that level, he didn't put over anybody. He didn't put over the guys that deserved it.
But did he ever put anyone over?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like,
I think he put Sid over, Psycho Sid.
Oops.
I think he put over the Undertaker.
Okay.
Yokozuna.
He definitely didn't put anybody over. Like, I mean, like we wrestling fans. I think this show is an exception. Wrestling fans like to bury Triple H for days. I think this show's the exception. We definitely make no like.
Triple H is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
He's down there on our.
Yeah, he might as well be Thor.
Has he won a WrestleMania match? I mean, like other than like when he was
against Booker T. Against Booker T, he won. My
you
favorite one.
You know what I mean? Though, like Triple H, like he gets to WrestleMania. He got to WrestleMania every year as like this nasty, disgusting heel, and he'd put over his opponent. Every single
Orton,
time.
Batista, John Cena. Yeah, man, because he
Daniel
loved
Bryan.
the business. He understood his value.
There's a dude who knows the business.
Yeah.
He put his body on the line against Mick Foley so that he could legitimize the people that are going to come after him, man.
Yeah.
And Bret was blinded by his success, I think. Yeah. And it's funny because he always believed that and talks about it. Especially in his documentary, he's like, you know, I always hated those old farts. He calls them old farts. Hated those old farts that wouldn't put any of us young guys over. And then he did the same fucking thing. He didn't put over Razor Ramon or Shawn Michaels or fucking 1, 2, 3 Kid or Doink. Not that Doink needed a push or anything. I'm just saying, you know, he's not going to put Al Snow. He could put Al Snow over. It fucking would have been amazing.
But no, he definitely didn't want to do that though. He, you know. Oh, so Rick Laws says could argue he helped.
Good point.
HB over too. Yeah, it is.
Like their Iron Man match, and they had some good programs leading up to that.
I mean, he also did put over Stone Cold too in the best in one of the best heel turns / face turn. I mean,
the best.
It's iconic forever.
Yeah.
It's a double
people
turn.
Will never forget
huge. That. It's arguably the moment Stone Cold needed for his career. I mean, that moment.
That is a good
point. To make him look so strong. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, like that moment is a moment you picture as like Stone Cold with his own blood gushing down his face, and he's like passes out from the sharpshooter, like.
It's a match that like we said, like what makes a good wrestling match, you know, it's like that's one of those matches you show to, like if you have somebody that's never seen wrestling before, that's a match you show them.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
For sure. I agree.
You don't need to know why these guys hate each other. You don't. You can tell. Over the course of the match, you could tell why they hate each other.
It's all in the ring, man, and that's why the video packages on the pay-per-views are so fucking great, because that's the setup is real important, especially if you're like, hey, you want to come over and watch WrestleMania? You're like, sure. You don't know shit, but they let you in on it.
Oh, they tell you who to like. Yeah,
it's very inclusive. Like it's not like, you know, Walking Dead where you have to know which douchebag with a bad haircut killed how many this.
Right.
Like, you don't have to know nothing. You just show up.
WrestleMania is not like watching Backlash either.
Yeah.
You watch a You watch a Backlash and there's video packages, but it's not even the same company sometimes.
Not so good.
Like, look at the C-listers out here for this one. So you got to get good somewhere.
I feel like that was a great conversation about the screw job.
I mean,
because I was worried because it's like it's been so talked about so much. It's
I mean,
like,
it really has. I think the biggest thing is
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway from it is that it had to happen. It's such a shitty history of wrestling, but it's like it was so important though.
Yeah,
it had to have it happen at this point.
Yeah,
It was pretty horrible at the time, but looking back, it probably made the business continue.
That's
really
why
did.
I call him the Christ of wrestling, because he gave his fucking career. He gave his career and almost his life. You know,
Not willingly.
Owen did. You know,
Not willingly.
Not willingly.
yeah, not willing.
Well, that's fun. Today we're gonna talk about our top 5. So a few weeks ago we did top 5 non-wrestlers who should have been wrestlers. Or we had some great lists. I think there was Vin Diesel in there. There was I think David Arquette.
I'm pretty sure I put Dog the Bounty Hunter in there.
Might have been Dog in there a little bit.
The Techno Viking.
Then we had the Techno Viking in there. Yeah, that's right. This week we are talking about top 5 wrestlers who probably should have never stepped foot in the ring.
Never should have put boots on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should not have been wrestlers. Should just not have been around. These aren't celebrities. These are just wrestlers that should not have been around. There might be some celebrities in there, but these wrestlers should not have been in there.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to Dusty. So should Dusty go last this time?
Yeah.
I came up with my list off the top of my
You
head.
win.
like,
Yeah. Dusty
You
goes
were-
last because of how
like,
fast
and
he came up with the list. Yeah. Dusty goes last. I'll go ahead and head it off.
Okay.
I have 2 factions on mine.
You said that, and I was excited about that too.
I have one faction that you guys already know, but I have 2 on the list. But I'm not going to lead off with a faction. The first off is the Great Khali, though. Boy, that guy. When he started, he was like peanut brittle knees.
He already moved like he was injured, like he'd been doing it for 100 years.
It's like the Tiger King. Like it's like he's got this big giant hurt tiger in a zoo. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
It's cruelty. It's human cruelty.
Why are you doing that to that man?
The good thing about the Great Khali, I will say this, is that he doesn't do any moves where it puts anybody else's life in jeopardy. So he never hurt anyone, you know?
Yeah,
like,
he was a lot of big ham hocks on.
Like just the chop and the slaps and like he didn't hurt anyone, and thank God for it, because he shouldn't have been in there.
I'm gonna move him down to my number 5 because he didn't hurt anybody.
Right.
Actually, because he's on my list too.
Okay. Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, Pearl River Plunge.
Yeah, I put Ahmed Johnson on there. The guy could have made a really nice career in bodybuilding, but he should not have ever been a wrestler. I
thought he was pretty good.
I don't think I ever saw an Ahmed Johnson match. Honestly,
You
I
know
was
what?
watching, I was pretty heavy in WCW.
We should
back
watch an Ahmed Johnson. Let's watch Ahmed versus Goldust. Let's see if I change your mind.
It's not good.
You don't like it still. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. It's not good.
Why do I like it?
He's
because
fucking
Goldust is in it.
Also,
He's
Goldust carried it. Ahmed Johnson
Yeah,
he was also fucking weird. He did weird mannerisms in the ring. Like I was like, what is this guy? He always has
like a basketball player.
He has like his tongue out and he's like he's just fucking weird. Like, what are you doing, you weirdo?
You're not the boogeyman. Stop it.
Is it? Can I? Hey, Ward, let's for a second here. Is it okay if we talk about how ashy he was? Like he didn't. He didn't. I don't know if this is racist or not, but he didn't use any oil or cocoa butter, and it was like he looked really like dry.
That's not racist.
Is that racist? I don't want it to be.
He needs to use some Jergens.
He needs some skin so soft.
I have one person on this list that I know you both might not have on your list, but I know you'll agree with, and that's Nia Jax. I think just does not belong near a ring.
I actually didn't pick any women, but yeah.
She hurts people. I think that's a big thing.
She heard another one. She heard another one. Just this.
Oh, I missed that. Just this week.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Monday.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop it. Stop putting
stop,
her in
Naya.
there.
or is she
go
on
be-
SmackDown?
Go be
Here
with,
are my
go be with
two.
dog.
Here are my two factions. My first one was the Mean Street Posse. That's the guys that used to hang out with Shane McMahon. I never got it. They were not in-ring workers,
No,
but they let them do wrestling moves.
and both of them came off the top rope on a regular basis.
Oh yeah, shouldn't have been there.
Neither one of them
been
was as
wearing
ballsy
dresses.
as Shane. But who's as ballsy as Shane? Not a whole lot of people.
No
Maybe
one,
New
no.
Jack.
He's
and
becoming one
Steve
of my
Blackman.
favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, I love Shane. I
McMahon.
mean, Shane's nuts, but
I
Mean Street
hate him,
Posse,
but I
I never
love him
got
to
why
death.
they're there. I never got why they're there. And then finally,
Yeah.
and I'll say it every single. I could put them on my top. My
Is
top-
it the Insane
my
Clown
bottom.
Posse?
It's the Insane Clown Posse. And fuck you, Insane Clown Posse, for ever being involved with wrestling. You hurt the product forever. You've made a lot of fans that I don't like. Whenever I talk about wrestling, if anyone ever makes fun of me for liking wrestling, it's because fucking ICP was a thing. No, you don't belong near a ring.
Shaggy
You don't
2
belong
Dope
near a ring.
and Violent J do not
Don't.
belong in
Hated
wrestling.
him. Hated
Did we
it.
show Rick Law's comment here? Nia Jax is in all 5 slots on my list.
It's legit. That's a legit list.
Fucking word, dude. When she did her thing with Asuka, what was that?
That's so good.
What pay per view was that? Night of Champions or some shit?
Well,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
There was a couple of them. I was worried at both times. Like, God damn, I hope. But Asuka's the best. She can survive anything.
Every time
Man, I was
Nia
worried
Jax is against somebody, I worry about their career.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Insane Clown Posse was my joke one on here because I pick on them every single one of them. But really, Nia Jax could have taken that spot too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
scary. I also, my honorable mention was also like Giant Gonzalez.
Oh yeah.
But I think,
Another animal
yeah,
crimes against humanity.
yeah.
kind of
And the
thing.
reason why I didn't take him is just because like everyone kind of knows that. Like that's like the one that was like, oh, he was just a big guy, so he's got to wrestle, right? Like like it was just.
Yeah.
I didn't make him an official member just because like it's kind of well known like he didn't belong.
Yeah.
Okay, that's mine.
All right. So number 5 is Heidenreich.
Oh yeah!
That dude,
Heidenreich.
in his defense, he had the look. Like he did.
The new
I pulled-
Psycho Sid.
Yeah, but he didn't have the ability, and he didn't have any charisma, and it just seems
Why
like
do you think they put him with Paul Heyman?
yeah. And then they tried. Was it the Legion of Doom? They tried to hook him up with, and it was just nothing ever clicked with that dude, and it's
Yeah.
too bad.
It's bad.
'Cause-
Yeah.
I took Kali off the list, and she had grabbed him and pulled one of my others in, and decided to go with a female because I think the business would have been better off if the fabulous Moolah was never a part of it. She's a horrible fucking human being.
I agree, man. I
And,
agree.
yeah.
That's a good choice.
I regularly drag her through the mud, and I don't
Yeah.
care about talking ill of the dead because she's a horrible fucking person.
Yeah, she wasn't really bad. She's a real piece of shit.
Bad.
And I don't think we need to say any more about that, though.
Dog
I've
the
gotta-
Bounty Hunter does not approve, kids.
She's a downer.
Downer.
Number 3 is Nathan Jones. He's
Okay.
responsible for the Undertaker's worst fucking
WrestleMania match.
WrestleMania match.
Yeah. Oh, what a bunch of bullshit.
I didn't realize that he'd tried to go back to TNA,
Now hold on.
and he never actually wrestled for them.
Can we talk about this a little tangent here?
Sure.
So Chris Jericho had to do this match with Fandango at WrestleMania, and
Yeah.
it really pissed him off So he's like, this is bullshit, and I'm not doing it. And he's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So he calls the Undertaker. He's like, can you believe this? I gotta do this fucking match at WrestleMania with this bullshit. And Undertaker goes, hey man, go do it. You know, I've done WrestleMania how many times? I've had to wrestle fucking idiots. He's like, dude, and the one that popped off his head, he's like, I had to wrestle Nathan Jones at WrestleMania. Just go do your job
with Nathan Jones.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's so funny.
It was his
And
only
Prince
non-singles
Albert-
match.
Prince Albert and Nathan Jones and the Big Show. Was that in Seattle? That was in Seattle, I'm pretty
That
sure.
was the one in Seattle.
Yeah.
My
That
roommate
was-
at the time went.
Randy
came back
and
and was
Isabel went. Randy and Jason, they all went. They've got these cool WrestleMania. I hope he still has that jacket. It's a WrestleMania Letterman jacket,
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
but at 19, you know, with the super cool.
Yeah.
He
Too bad
better
that
still have that.
some of those matches were so fucking bad. But yeah, Nathan
Some of
Jones
them
was one of those guys. He had the look. He was Australian, but my God, like no coordination whatsoever.
So bad.
He was a bogan cunt.
Number 2, Dwayne Gilbert.
Gilbert.
That dude.
Okay.
How did that dude ever?
I
make
don't
it?
know.
How
Because it was
did
a
you-
funny joke. It was a funny
I
joke.
love Gilbert.
That's how
Well,
he
it's
got
a
in
Chris
though.
Jericho angle, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought
It
Chris
was.
Jericho brought him in.
It's just a funny
Mm.
joke.
You're
I
right.
think he was
You're
a
right,
Vince
though.
joke.
Russo.
It's a Vince vehicle. No,
It was
Vince
a
McMahon.
Vince McMahon joke.
It's a
Because
Vince
Gilbert was
McMahon
on
vehicle.
Raw.
He
he
has
was on Raw. That's right.
Yeah, they came
Vince
out.
It was
McMahon-
Jericho.
Yeah. Vince McMahon doesn't have very many funny jokes, but Gilbert was his one joke that he thought was super funny, and honestly, it landed.
Yeah,
That's some good shit.
but
Oh, I didn't make that.
prior to the Gilbert thing, when he was just Dwayne Gill and he came out, how did he make it into the ring? How did he even get to the point where he was seen by Vince McMahon to be Gilbert? He looked
Can
like
we
at
do
best
Gilbert
a referee.
next week?
We can.
Can we do a special on Gilbert?
We should. That's awesome. That's a great idea.
I would love to spend 30 minutes talking about that fucking guy.
Okay.
And
real.
number one is a regular on my shit list. Steve Mongo McMichael.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna say it. That's
Dude
why I
got a-
didn't bother.
Dude got a spot on the Horseman. Not every one of his matches is just a botch fest. How did that? Just playing football shouldn't give you the right to jump in a ring. He's just awful.
Cena, this is such good shit.
Have you
Yeah.
ever seen that video of it's called the worst boxer of all time? And he's that stiff guy with the curly blonde mullet.
No,
Oh yeah.
And
That's
he gets his shit rocked.
isn't that a Bill Burr vehicle? Like Bill Burr's describing.
He might have a thing where he talks about that.
There's a Bill Burr when he's doing his podcast where he talks about that dude, and it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen Bill Burr do. Bill Burr, by the way, wrestling guy, wrestling and sports in general, he's
a
into
Ric
it.
Flair guy.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
he's a Ric Flair guy.
yeah.
Like a Ric Flair guy. I enjoy Ric Flair,
A
but he's
fucking
a
guy
Ric
from
Flair
Boston
guy.
having a fucking Sam Adams watching the fucking Nature Boy stomp some ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things. Yeah, so man, that's a really good choice though.
Yeah, for sure.
Mongo.
Holy shit.
Mongo, man, he was so bad, and
It's so bad.
And you look at the people around him. You've got Flair, you've got Benoit,
Oh,
you've
yeah.
got Arn Anderson, you've got Dean Malenko. Just how did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like,
Because
did
he's
Deborah
big.
just bend over for all
Because
of them?
because he's a big sweaty man. I think that's it. Just
Was
a big.
He was a WWF like agent got hired him, or did Vince hire him personally? Do
He
we
was a
know the
WCW
story?
guy.
Oh,
Mongo was
so
He was old school.
so he, I bet you it was Bill Watt. That'd be my
Oh,
Bill
okay.
Watts. I bet you Bill
Just
Watts
from being
brought
a
him in.
football fan.
Yep. And I bet you it's Bill, because nobody in the locker room, none of the boys like Bill Watts. Fucking Jim Cornette didn't like him. JR didn't like him. None of them like Bill Watts. I bet you that's who brought in Mongo. And Mongo was probably working with some outfit somewhere else, and they were doing a talent exchange. And he's like, "Oh, I got this big guy Mongo," and Bill Watts is like, "Oh, derp." And that's what my guess is. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but
Hold
we
on
need
real
to
quick.
spend a fucking episode on that guy too.
We should.
Hold on, real quick.
This is such good shit.
Wow, Terry Taylor trained him.
Such good shit.
Such good shit.
Jeez,
God, man, well, that's a great list, though. I love it.
for sure.
This is such good shit.
Take that thing away from that guy.
Such good shit.
Such good shit.
No, that's fantastic. No, I love the list, Dusty. I am really looking forward to this
I am too.
list.
All right, let me get the damn list up here.
I'm excited.
It's called, I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. It's called Get Out the Biz. Today has been brought to you by Le Blanc Brazilian sugarcane rum. Sorry about my chair.
Oh.
They're old.
That's okay. I couldn't even tell till now.
Oh,
Cheers,
I just thought you were
gentlemen.
farting.
Look,
Cheers.
Great damn show so far. Oh yeah. You know how Sammy Hagar does the shot of his Cabo Wabo? All right. So I put these in a certain order, but I didn't think about the order after I did it. So this is just like, did it as quick as I possibly could, because I was like, oh yeah, these are the ones.
These are the guys.
So number 5, Sammy Guevara. Get him the fuck out of wrestling.
Okay.
He sucks. He's got no talent. You know that little Jewish guy who's yelling at the trumpet player in New York? He's like, I served in the orchestra. You're trash. You have no talent. You never seen them? All right, forget it. I don't like him. I think he sucks.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
this one's going to be a little controversial because I don't agree with it, but I think it's true. Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy.
What?
should
No
not be in the
way.
business. Nope. He's killing the business. As long as nobody puts him over, then it works. But and then I like Orange Cassidy. I think he's fucking great. I'd like to see him every week, but I don't think he should be in the business.
Okay.
I feel that way. Paige is my number 3. This hot,
Yeah.
steaming pile of garbage in a British Tim Burton film should not be in professional wrestling at all.
Okay. Okay.
Number 2, Natalia.
Oh,
Natty
no.
She's so bad, dude. She's so bad. Watch
ever?
her last 3. Ever? No, not ever, not of all time, but But
Okay.
I'm just saying, shouldn't have gotten the business. She shouldn't have gotten the business. She should have done something else. She should have been like, she could have been something better than a wrestler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can tell because when I watch her wrestle, it is so bad, dude. It's so bad. Like you know how I know it's bad, because it looks like she should be working for AEW. That's how bad it is. AEW's women's division is hot garbage, we all know it.
Yeah.
And Natalya belongs in that group.
Yeah.
This is such good shit.
Nice.
You didn't take that clip from me, did you? Who's?
This is such good shit.
I just made that
With whose voice?
with I found a clip.
Of Vince's voice? Oh, of just
I found Vince's voice, and then I did a thing. I made a
fucking
thing.
A. Wow.
This is such good shit.
That just made the reel. That's the highlight reel.
Nice.
That just made the list.
You just made the list, stupid idiot.
Nice.
Before I do my number one, I'm going to give a honorable mention to Ronda Rousey.
Okay.
She is hot garbage and should have never, ever worked for Vince McMahon.
That was a paycheck.
Yeah, that was money.
For a failed career.
Ronda paycheck.
Yeah, that was a Ronda check.
But my number one should have never laced up a pair of boots.
Okay.
Bill Goldberg.
Absolutely.
He ruined the business. He delegitimized it. He made Vince Russo get more. He allowed Vince Russo to get more work than he ever deserved.
Yeah.
He buried WCW.
Yeah. I don't hate that at all.
I hate his guts. And he should have never been a wrestler. He should have said, "Oh, I can't play for football, then I guess I'll sell cars." And that would have been better.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it because I mean at the when the Bill Goldberg thing was going on as a kid, I remember thinking it was cool. But the nice thing about wrestling, being a wrestling fan, is you look back. You can look back on everything and see, and when he ended Brett's career, he's a bad in-ring worker. He almost killed The Undertaker very recently. I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with the list, with the choice.
He's done an awful lot of damages.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
overall.
there are people like Mr. Fuji who shouldn't have been in the business. Right, like, or I shouldn't say Mr. Fuji, like somebody, Jimmy Hart. Why the fuck is Jimmy Hart? You know, and I thought that those kinds of decisions were phoning it in too much, and I think that people that should have just left wrestling alone.
Yeah,
that's the five people I could have thought of.
But like Jimmy Hart had his place though.
Well, see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he definitely has his place, but I'm saying, like, how could I go deeper? Who really caused some problems and who really could have done better than, that's what I was trying to go for. So,
yeah. I'm also going to throw in as an honorable mention, because you've mentioned Goldberg now, because I feel like Goldberg's like a hindsight 2020 thing, right? Like, we can look back and go, why was this guy ever a thing? And then you look at him now when he's come back and done stuff. It's like, why the fuck are you bringing him back now? Like, that's a hindsight thing. That's like, why do you keep making the same mistake?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw Ryback in there.
Yeah.
Because Ryback is like
they really wanted him to happen, and he just never could.
And he's ruining
kind of a
his
hide
career.
type.
The Twitter fights and online bullshit with his podcast, like, he's not making any friends at all.
At least Goldberg didn't have that, right? Like, I remember we were talking about the other day. We were talking about this the other day. Remember he calls the guy the cuck. He calls, was it Ziggler?
He called Ziggler a cuck. Yeah.
Ugh. I'm so turned off to that.
Yeah. Hard pass on anybody.
Just yuck. Just what makes me sad is that I like some. I
Is
like
Ryback
some
a
of
Proud Boy?
Probably.
I don't. Yeah, maybe I don't know. I liked some of the. So I think I have a shirt. I can't remember what shirt I have. I have a shirt somewhere. I have the "Feed Me More" shirt, which I liked the "Feed Me More" gimmick. Like feed me more. Like like more opponents, more. And I feel like they wasted a lot of like really good ideas on them, like the "Feed Me More" gimmick. Well, which I was like, well, I kind of like that. Like that could be used for somebody very good.
Well, and that's what Jericho was expecting at WrestleMania. Like we were talking earlier, he had to wrestle Fandango. The original idea was for him to wrestle Ryback and have this great match. And he fucking put on a dress and shit in the girls' bathroom and ruined his career.
There was a really funny tweet by Jericho a few years ago. So him and Fandango or whatever, that was like 2010, 11, 12 maybe.
I think it was 12 or 13.
12 maybe. And then somebody at WrestleMania a couple of years after had a really embarrassing loss, and Jericho had tweeted like, hey, don't feel bad about your embarrassing loss. Remember, I lost to Fandango at WrestleMania, and I thought that was fucking hilarious. Jericho, by the way, you guys, I have to tell you, I wanted to, before we ended the show here, the class that I'm teaching right now, the high schoolers there, I told them that I was a wrestling fan, and their faces lit up. Like, they were all so excited to talk about wrestling. And I've had a really great last few weeks with this new group that I have, because they love wrestling. Like one of them asked me who my favorite wrestler was of all time is, and I was like, well, I love Randy Savage. And they were like, Macho Man? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, just and then I did a few like just the class just loves it. They love wrestling. I was like, this is awesome. A lot of them, they were like, oh, my older siblings watch wrestling, and they're all like big fans. But even I didn't even like shit on their choices because they're kids. Like one of the girls.
Are they Jericho fans at all?
Well, yeah. So I told them all, I'm like, one of my current favorite wrestler is Chris Jericho, which everyone on this show knows. My current favorite wrestler is Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah.
But in the class, they were like, "Oh yeah, I love Jericho." One of the kids in the class is like, he's like, "Oh, I watch AEW every week," and I was like, "What? What the
Nice.
fuck? What the fuck? This is awesome!"
Nice.
One of the kids in the class goes, "Well, my favorite wrestler," and I was like, "Well, who?" And she's like, "Well, I'm embarrassed to say because you're like a big wrestling." I'm like, "Well, who is it?" And she's like, she's like, I really like Roman Reigns," and I was like,
That's fine.
and I was like, "Yeah, he's great."
Yeah.
I don't think that, but because the fact that they were like these young people, the fact that these young people are watching wrestling, it was like I likened it to being like I love hockey, and my favorite team is the Mighty Ducks. But whenever I meet a hockey fan who is like, "Oh, I love the Flyers," I'm like, "Yeah, the Flyers, fuck yeah, go Philly!" Like. Because I don't care if someone doesn't like the team that I like. I just love hearing that somebody loves hockey. Same thing with like baseball. When I see somebody wearing like even like a Yankees hat, I'm like, yeah, hey, look at that. Fucking that person's wearing a baseball hat. Like, thank you for doing that. Is it a fashion statement or do you watch? And a lot of them are like, well, it's a fashion statement.
Now,
but the ones that don't.
If I met a little girl with a Bob Holly shirt, I'd punch her in the face. But that's just
I'm
just teasing.
That's
all
all right.
That would ever be a thing, but if it was, I'd punch her in her little dumb face for sure.
You stupid idiot! She's on the list.
You just made the list, stupid idiot.
I'm so glad I made those.
Could you do a oh yeah cup of coffee in the big time, Randy Savage?
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, thank you for everybody for watching the show or listening to the show. I had a blast tonight.
It was a good one.
Glad to be back. We'll be back next week. Absolutely.
This is such good shit.
Good shit. Such good shit. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy it. This is very nice. Thank you, Rick Laws. I appreciate it. The kids love wrestling, and that's my key to their heart. That's it. That's the goal. You just gotta find the thing that they like. Zach Swan says you've never met a Flyers fan. That's absolutely true. I was trying to use the most.
I used to be.
You used to be.
Not anymore.
I tried to find the most obscure team. Rick Laws also says he agrees with all the choices. He's going to throw Lars Sullivan on the list. I'll agree with that in a few years. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show. Have a good weekend. Enjoy. On Saturday, make sure you check out, bless you. Make sure you check out Smartmark, or make sure you check out
allergy medicine or something.
I know, I'm sneezing.
Make sure you check out Sports Program on Saturday. We'll give our pick'ems for the weekend. We'll talk some fantasy, some stuff coming up. By the way, make sure you check out Time Spent Poorly. The last show, fantastic show, a lot of fun. You guys are hitting it every week. It's been really good. Honestly,
yeah. As we run longer, I end up like preaching genocide. It's probably not the best.
That's fine. It's fine. Everybody have a great weekend and
take care, folks.